Hey guys, it is Corie from AltCoin Best Ladies, and I'm back. It's been a few weeks, so hopefully you're excited. We are back to do our next video, our next ICO review. ICO review, you know, I don't actually ever give you guys a full review of the ICO or the project. I kind of just walk you through what I was seeing in the white paper, and that's what we're going to do. It's not going to be a full white paper review. So, you know, bear with me. We're getting back into it. We're getting back warmed up. It's been a few weeks, so we'll go ahead and get started. So today we're going to talk about YGGDRASH. And YGGDRASH is one of those ones that I've seen promoted a lot lately by YouTubers and just on other platforms. And I don't really know why. It's a funny story. The first time somebody ever sent me the white paper or link, I forget which one I got first, to YGGDRASH, I remember laughing. I hope the team doesn't watch this because that's really mean. But I remember laughing because I couldn't take it seriously. And I was really concerned and wondering why I was being asked to look at this. And if it was like some sarcastic email. Then I found out it wasn't, and that made me even more concerned. And then I saw the videos on YouTube, and it made me even more concerned. So we're going to take a look at it. For those of you who are interested in joining the ICO is actually, it was canceled. Pre-ICO, they were able to raise enough funds that they didn't actually need to go into ICO, which is interesting. We'll get into exactly why I find that interesting here in a minute, but yeah, before we get started, everybody's favorite part of the video. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is not tax advice. These are my opinions. These are this whole thing, including the fact that I opened this and laughed at it. Those are my opinions. It's my own personal experience with investing and my own personal views on investing that I'm going to share with you here today. And I would keep pushing all of you to continue to do your own diligence, to continue to do your own research and make your own opinions. If you think this is the next blockchain 3.0 or project of the future, it's going to the moon, by all means, continue down that road. You will not see me continuing down that road, specifically on this one. But yeah, if you have comments, if you have questions, leave them below. Also, make sure you're following us on Twitter. At the end of the video, I'll give you guys all the Twitter information, but I really like engaging with you guys on conversations about some of the projects I look at. So I'm interested to hear your differing opinions or your concurring opinions. So let's get started. Hey guys, so this is the YGGDRASH white paper, and you know, taking a step back, let's start. YGGDRASH, for those of you who don't know, is aiming to create a blockchain ecosystem. It's anticipated to have a main chain, or you know, what they're calling the stem chain, with a various number of branch chains branching off of it, with which you can transact through. And it's anticipating trying to be a blockchain that can connect all other blockchains. You can interact, you can transact through all this through YGGDRASH into any other type of blockchain platform, and it's anticipated to have tokens in which you can utilize and pay in order to use their blockchain, as well a platform and a decentralized exchange whereby you can transact in a more secure way. So here we are, guys. So you know, scrolling down, you know, one of the things, this is a very short white paper, and you'll see that it's only about 20 pages. And the first thing they have is they've got a letter from the team, and then they go on to say why another blockchain and why are they entering in from this. They go on then, and this is actually a very interesting thing. They go on to talk about Bitcoin and the issues with Bitcoin, and then Ethereum as well. One of the things, after I'd read this, I kind of was skimming back through it, and I found really interesting is the fact that here they're talking about Bitcoin, and they're talking about the fact that when it was introduced first, one of the main reasons it got a lot of attention was because of its vision for security, fast remittance, and the fact that it was anticipated to have zero commission fees, or near zero commission fees. And then they go immediately into saying, you know, Bitcoin doesn't have that, and you know, those are things that it was not able to live up to. And it goes on to actually list statistics that they, and I appreciate, they actually source right here. So 51 minutes is the average time it takes to complete a single Bitcoin transaction during the past 30 days. I'd be interested, I haven't done it, to look up when was that statistic taken. is it a relevant 30 days or is it a dated? $55 is the average transaction fee to move 1 Bitcoin over the last 3 months. I'd be interested again time dating that, but I haven't done that. Mostly because of the fact that I'm not doing a Bitcoin review. But I just found it interesting that, they're saying that at its infancy, Bitcoin had all of these promises, and these promises are what gained it the most attention. And it's interesting because if you take the time and you read this white paper on YGGDRASH, it's almost doing and setting itself up for the same thing. This project, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is still in its infancy, and it's still very, very early, and it's an idea still for this team. I don't see anything on their site. I don't see anything on their white paper that says they've really even gotten into development and testing. Their test net's not even anticipated until the second half of 2018, and their main net is not even expected until 2019. And it's just interesting to see, with such lack of any type of prototype or any developed technology, from what you can see, all of the promises and the ideas that, YGGDRASH is willing to throw out there and say, ours will be better, ours will be faster, it'll be cheaper, without really having a basis for it. And I just found it really interesting that the first thing they do is they call Bitcoin out for the fact that it promised all of these things and then failed to live up to that. And, one of the things we're seeing is projects that fail to live up to the hype that they have up front. And just knowing how infant this project still is, I just found that was an extremely interesting move. The other thing, so then you actually get into YGGDRASH, and, they give you a technical background. They talk about the branch chains off the stem chain. They go into their technology, the multiple types of chains, the YGG token that they're anticipating to have, and you go through. And one of the things that really, really, really bothered me about this specific white paper is that there are errors in it. And not even getting into technical errors. There are spelling issues, grammatical issues. It is a very hard white paper to read just from the fact of being grammatically incorrect in certain instances. And don't get me wrong, I completely understand some of these companies and these project teams are not English speaking or are not English native in their language. And so it is though a sign to me, and almost a lack of care as it comes across, that they didn't hire somebody or bring somebody on or have somebody read this who is more English dominant in their language speaking skills and their writing skills in order to proof it. And English is such a dominant language in the business sphere, and you're seeing white papers across any type of project being listed in English. And this is the first time I've really had this number of issues in a white paper. And for me, that just is a lack of care, and it's just a lack of attention, and it really undercuts for me the quality of the team. If I'm going into a presentation and the team is asking me for their money and they can't take the time to make sure, I'll show you here, transaction complete is spelled wrong here. And that alone, and this is not the only instance in this white paper, that alone, when I saw it, it's sloppy. This is a sloppy white paper, and for as great as the technology can be, sloppy presentation from the start makes me question the quality of the team, the integrity of the team, and really what they're doing. And so that was just something, if you read it, it doesn't read well. The grammar issues within it, and I'll show you certain instances even on their website, it just makes it hard to read, and being hard to read, it undercut the value of what they're really trying to propose to me. I at least want to be in a team that can hire somebody and put it through the reviews to make sure that regardless of what nationality I am, regardless of what language I am, I can read something and have it make sense to me, or even have it translate well. You have to think, for those who don't necessarily speak English or speak the native language that the white paper is issued in, they're going to need to translate it based on what is available. And if what is available cannot be easily translated because it's incorrect in that specific language, it's a flag for me, and it's a flag that I haven't had to deal with before because other teams have just been cleaner. So they continue, and they continue through the technology, they continue through how they're going to have better capacity, better speed, some more secure network on their decentralized exchange, how they're using the proof of authority. I think I said that wrong. Yeah, proof of authority. I did say that right. I had it right. Proof of authority as their algorithm. They go through all of this, and I don't think this is lacking in idea and thought process of how the technology will work, how the platform will work, and what it has to offer, and the benefits it anticipates being able to bring to market. But, and I know I said it at the beginning, I said, like, when I opened this, I laughed. That's it that this talks about. So the only thing that this white paper talks about is it talks about the technology. And, you know, through the series of videos I've done, in all other videos, I've actually been able to show how important the non-technology pieces of a white paper are. So when I got this, I originally just got the white paper. And if you look at the white paper, it just ends. There's no team, there's no roadmap, there's no sources except for the ones that directly were linked to the citations. There's really nothing here. And, you know, reading a white paper that doesn't read well, that has grammatical and spelling issues within it, followed by the fact that there's no team or there's no roadmap or anything that actually talks about how they anticipate taking just an idea and getting to that Q3 test launch or the 2019 main launch of their blockchain. It's just interesting. And so from the very beginning, I actually have had no faith in this. I did actually respond to the person who sent me the white paper initially and, you know, called out these exact things. And they said, hey, take a look at their website. You know, they have a little bit more information. And so we'll go over here, and here's their website. And if you go through, there is a little bit more information here, which kind of upset me. You know, the idea of a white paper is to be the source of the information. A white paper is stemming off the idea of the filings that public companies do for investors in order to say, here's what we're anticipating being as a company, here's our product, here's what we're bringing, here's our financials, here's how we intend to improve. This is why you should invest in us. And so to not have all of the information that the company is clearly putting out contained within that white paper, it was a little bit, again, a red flag for me. I don't like having to go to two sources to get the full story. I always like seeing the white paper, and then I go to the other sources. I always go to the other sources, like the site, in order to validate that it's a consistent messaging. There's nothing that pops out. There's no inconsistencies where on the site they seem to be promoting only one element of a project, but within the white paper there's actually multiple other elements, or, you know, something shady happening between them. I like to see that consistency in messaging. And here, it just wasn't the case. There's different information based on where you go and what the team is putting out in those resources. And so you actually do get to a part of the website and you have the entire team. I did go through LinkedIn. This team is actually getting really good rankings overall for transparency of the team, what appears to be a real team. There's not really undercut. You have your advisors as well. You have, you know, your fund allocation and token distribution, which is giving thought to, you know, the future and where are you going to deploy the funds you get from the ICO. So it is giving that project-based feel and that how do we intend to come to market feel that I usually look for in the white paper. Again, my issue just being, why can't this be in the white paper? Why can't there just be one source of information? Because on this site, I can't tell you the details of the technology like I can in the white paper, but in the white paper, I just can't tell you the details of the team or the token distribution or the thoughts of how they intend to allocate their funds. Finally, they do have a roadmap, and actually one of the pieces of feedback that this team is getting a lot of is how far out their roadmap is. So again, we talked about the pre-ICO and the fact that the main ICO launch was canceled just due to the fact that they were able to gain the amount of funds they were looking for. Here, they're expecting in late 2018 to be actually releasing their testnet, and then it's not until the second half of the beginning of 2019 that they're actually anticipating getting their main net out. And just knowing that there are competitors out there trying to achieve the same thing, trying to be that 3.0 blockchain, you know, one of the things that this team is getting a lot of feedback on is how long and how timely is this project really going to be? Is there going to be a competitor that beats them to market? Just knowing that there's so many competitors out there just trying to solve for the same inefficiencies in the blockchain market that this project is. And so my other question is, without seeing really any type of prototype, any type of information saying where they currently stand within the development of their technology, I really have no faith in the fact that they could be the first to market, or that they will be relevant when this technology and this mainnet is finally released. And so, you know, just kind of last, if you go through here and you read some of this stuff, you can just read, and just if you have an English background, if you read it out loud, there are just elements where you can pick up on the fact that there is just some grammatical inaccuracy. And I'm not being so snobbish or so high and mighty or pretentious as to say like every project needs to be perfectly written from any language's perspective. But again, the number of issues I did see within this specific white paper and on the site, it just gives me a sense of a lack of caring or a lack of attention to detail that if I'm investing and if they're asking for, say, $40 million from investors, I would expect them to be able to nail those points down. And it's just, if the small little piece of attention is lacking there, where else within this project, where else within the technology and the final product am I going to find that? I really feel that they lacked attention and detail. And if I'm putting money in, I just don't ever want to question the level of care, the level of detail that a team is putting into something. And so for me, while some might undercut it as not necessarily an important point, I did find that to be a very important point. So that's kind of where I was at with YGGDRASH, and those are some of the points for why I specifically, you know, after an initial review, just didn't care for the project as much. All right, guys, so that was the walkthrough of the white paper. Just kind of finalizing and bringing back to the one point I did bring up earlier. The amount of hype for this specific project is actually kind of surprising. You know, there's not a lot there, and what is there is kind of sloppy, and, you know, I just see a lot of holes, I see a lot of unknowns, I see a lot of good ideas, but, you know, you can talk to a lot of people and they have a great idea of how they would make a blockchain better. It doesn't mean that they have the ability or the means by which to actually act on that and create that idea into a project. And there's not really a lot, except a lot of people on a team, that makes me feel like this team can actually develop what they've put in this white paper, and live up on these ideas that they're presenting to you as an investor. So for me, it's a no-go. I'm not putting money into this. And for those of you who might, you know, think that there's something here and, you know, it's a great idea and you're willing to take a risk on kind of, is it going to be the first to market? Will competitors beat it? Is there something that you see in this specific project that maybe you're not seeing in another, whatever it might be? If you're in on this and it goes to the moon and it's through the roof, kudos, like, great investment decision. I'm not, and again, this was a video based on my opinion, based on my review of this specific project and what I saw and called out. It just doesn't do it for me, not this one. So, until next time, guys, and if you want to just leave comments, if you want to let me know your thoughts, if you completely disagree with me and I'm missing something, let me know. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say, and I look forward to it. You can also find me on Twitter. My name is @RockyCorie. You can also follow @AltCoinBuzzIO or @abuzz_ladies. Any of us, and you can get a hold of the other ladies through probably any of those means. We're all connected. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. And till next time.